Hello, and welcome to the Sovereign Stylist YouTube channel. My name is Darcy Harris, and I am the Advocacy Director for the Sovereign Stylist. If you like our channel, please make sure to subscribe and click on the bell down below so that you can get notifications whenever we upload new content. And always, if you like what we're doing, please comment below or hit the like button. Today, we are going to be doing a little bit of a question and answer interview with Molly Jo Mitchell. Hello, Molly.
Hi.
Welcome. We're going to have some questions, and basically the focus of this series right now is to talk about reopening during COVID-19. And so we're just going to start off with some basic questions to get to know you, and then we're going to move right into it. Sound good?
Sure.
All right. So where do you live and work, and how long have you been in the cosmetology industry?
I live and work in Seattle, Washington. Our little shop, Spruce Salon and Spa, is up in Upper Fremont, if anybody knows Seattle. And I've been doing hair professionally for going on 20 years now.
Gotcha. What is your favorite part of being a professional in cosmetology?
I would say I'm a people pleaser, and I love making people happy. I feel like I'm the tool, the paintbrush to bring out their authentic self, I guess. And I mean, I can't complain. I love making my own schedule and talking all day. It's not a bad job to have.
Got it. Awesome. So obviously we're focusing on reopening during COVID-19, and you're in Washington State. I'm also in Washington State, so we're going to have a little commiseration a little bit later about all of this from our point of view, from our little corner of the United States. But when and how did you hear about your guidelines for your phase reopening? Just what the restrictions and guidelines are?
How did I hear about them? Well, I'm a little bit of a nerd, and I really try to stay current on education and laws and requirements. And I guess when the whole COVID-19 thing exploded, I was really tuned into that and how that would affect my industry. So I follow several hairdressing pages on Facebook, lots of other stylists, and salons on Instagram. Our local news. I try to watch all of our governors, whatever you call them, meetings that he has.
Press conferences.
Yeah, press conferences. We have a team of, I think, 7 people right now, and I'm all about communication. And so I like to gather the information, disseminate it, and then really put it in layman's terms so that my whole team can understand and we can all be on the same page. Some of us are employees, some of us are independent. So that creates a little bit of a confusion, I guess, like how do we roll these requirements out? So I just wanted to be on top of all the information so I could pass it on and we could come together unified as a team.
Gotcha. The teamwork is really important. It doesn't matter if you're independent or an employee, right? The hybrid salon has to figure it out too.
Yeah. I mean, It's a big reason. I've been independent for about 10 years now, and have owned a salon for about 4. And I kind of missed working with people. I did the whole studio thing. I miss collaborating and, working with other people.
Gets a little lonely in the suites. I mean, there's advantages to it, but you don't get the interaction as much with your colleagues.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're in a private suite, I mean, I'm gonna get a little woo-woo here, but I feel like you really absorb that your client, your individual's energy, and when you don't have other people to bounce off of, or I don't know, it got to be a little bit much.
Gotcha.
Kind of weird, but
well, I mean, we are people, so that makes sense. So how are you preparing for reopening? We're going to probably go into a little conversation because we literally just found out before this recording that our counties, so Washington State has decided to leave it up to counties to apply for variants to get into the next phase, and our county didn't quite isn't quite eligible for what they call phase 2 here. And so they decided to allow a very limited reopening for certain businesses for what they call phase 1.5, which we think is a little silly, but they just approved it. And so we're reeling a little bit, Molly and I, right before this recording. So tell me your thoughts with that news impacting how you're going to reopen. How is that going to look, especially since we just found out?
I was a little shell shocked to like literally just like 15 minutes ago find out that today's the day when, you know, we were fully expecting it to at the earliest be Monday because I knew our county applied for this modified phase. But I would say since we, you know, I co-own our business. And so me and my partner, Christine Wood, she's the esthetician. I kind of manage the hair side of things. We have been kind of working off and on this whole time to, you know, separate the stations, get all the PPE and sanitizer and, you know, gloves, and we're getting extra masks for clients, like if they don't show up with one, so that we will be ready to roll when the day comes. But I still was planning on today to go in there, which we will, like, nobody's gonna be working today. But to hang all the signs and email all the clients, because we still have to schedule everybody. Like most stylists that I know have canceled their books, closed their books, you know, till like July, because they don't know when we're going to open. And so we now have to contact everybody, make sure that they're informed about our policies and how it's going to be. You know, we planned on making a little video of like, here's what you can expect. You show up, you're going to wait in your car. You know, we got a little phone number you can call or text. We can, you know, let you in when we're ready. But now it's going to be sped up, I guess.
Right. How specifically, so for this phase 1.5 that they created, they are saying that personal services in Washington State, King County is the county that we're in Seattle, that we have to have 25% capacity. How, as your hybrid salon, have you already discussed what that's going to look like, or staggering schedules in employees versus independent? Any ideas?
Yeah, so one thing that our state did was kind of clear up the confusion between employees, you know, and booth renters. And in our guidelines, they actually said whoever's the major leaseholder for the space, so which would be me and my business partner, we kind of have this interim power that you wouldn't usually have just being basically a landlord. So while we go through these phases, we have a little bit more responsibility to write the policy, do the schedule, manage the stylist a little bit, which is not what I want to be all about.
Yeah, I agree. I'm in the same exact boat as you. I'm a co-owner of a booth rental salon. I don't have employees. It's all booth renters. And we actually booth rent from the business entity that holds the lease. So, you know, we're not getting any perks. Trust me. It's expensive in Seattle.
What was the question again? I feel like I kind of like veered off a little bit there.
No, it's okay. How to approach the 25% and capacity. And so, you know, I don't know how many people are in your salon. Yeah. So how would you figure out, like, because I don't know what your square footage is. It's based on square footage. And
yeah. So, you know, we read and reread, and, you know, I have some friends that like are college professors in English, and, you know, our lawyers and our, we went through word by word to really hit the guidelines properly. And our understanding is that the working capacity of the salon, we were permitted by the city, 19, not including myself, like not including the owner. So we can have 20 people in the shop, performing services and getting services. So say 10 staff, 10 clients.
And that's for the 25, or that's the full capacity?
That's the full capacity.
Gotcha. And then so 25% would be, now
Two
I'm not good at math.
yeah, so 5 people.
So 2 stylists, 2 clients,
Stylists, two
or,
clients.
right.
And then we kind of looked out, and our esthetician has a private closed off studio space where they can, if you are in a private room, you can work 1-to-1. And so luckily she doesn't really have to count towards everybody else. But
Gotcha.
it's a hit for our stylists, because they still have to pay rent. And now they can't work as much. Like,
Yeah. And the running theory is that the self-employed will no longer be able to get any unemployment, pandemic unemployment assistance, once a county has reopened. So,
that's my understanding as well.
yeah, and so the state isn't necessarily concerned with our profitability or whether we even break even. Personally, I feel that this is just, you can work, but you'll be in the red, which is hard to deal with. It would have, personally, if I could insert my own personal opinion, I would have liked to wait a little bit longer, because everything that's going on in the world, we're dealing with protests, peaceful protests and non-peaceful protests happening all over the United States and multiple countries abroad. And we've had 6 or 7 days of heavy protests in Seattle, and
and they just keep getting bigger.
Just keep getting bigger, and the exposure for those people could expand our numbers later. And also, my salon is in the same neighborhood as the protests, and so we have our windows boarded up right now, and that makes me feel safe. But if we reopen and there's still protests, it's gonna be challenging.
Yeah.
So to get back on track on our questions here, because I got to stay on track. So obviously there's going to be a opening day.
Yeah.
Are you going to say, okay, we're not going to open today, we're going to open in a couple days, or what do you think it'll look like, and who gets to be on that how do you decide who gets to work that first day?
So we've already worked out a schedule, because we have full-timers and part-timers. So we basically decided everybody wants like a couple full days, and then Saturdays when everybody works, we're just going to have to do shifts. So probably pull in like half days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to wait until Monday for the shop to be fully prepared.
Personally, our salon is boarded up and we can't do anything. We're supposed to let people in through the front door. That's part of our guidelines. And right now we can't open our front door. So
you're totally sealed up.
Totally sealed up, which has been a blessing in disguise, for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
Okay, so what PPE will you be wearing, and have you created any new protocols for the salon throughout the day?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be wearing, I personally bought some like spa uniforms, because I personally am going to change my clothes between every client. I'm going above and beyond. I really want to minimize, any risk of spread. And so changing my uniform, changing my apron, I'm going to change my mask, and either I have both, like, I wear glasses, which basically our policy is, or our guidelines are, they were supposed to make us wear the N95 masks, but realizing that takes away from healthcare providers that need them more than hairdressers, they said, well, if you layer your PPE, that'll be fine. And so we can wear cloth masks, but to layer our PPE, we then have to wear goggles or glasses or face shields. So I have all of the above. And I'm gonna kind of play it a little bit by ear. I have asthma, so I don't know. I have a challenge wearing a mask for like even 20 minutes. So I'm not sure. I'm just gonna have to kind of try it out. And I made kits, or I'm making kits basically every client that comes in that day. I'm only gonna start with 4 clients a day. And so I kind of am pre-making these kits that will have each client I have that day We'll have a pre-made kit ready to go at the beginning of the day. And then as I go through clients, I just pull their next kit. And so the kit is like a sanitizable Pyrex glass bin, and it'll have everything I'm going to need for that client other than color: scissors, combs, brushes, their shampoo, their conditioner, their styling products, because I want to prevent absolutely any cross contamination. So we're not going to have products on our stations, nothing at the shampoo bowl. Everything will be individually pre-made, ready to go for that client.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Good. That makes me really proud of you that you're doing everything that you can. It's going to be an interesting learning curve once you get into the salon.
I know.
I would love to hear an update of, even if it's not for a recording, to just how you felt after the first day and whether you felt prepared or whether you got some curveballs. How are you feeling about reopening? It's a very loaded question.
No, this is totally my personal feelings. I'm stressed out, man. It's weird. I have not been calling this the new normal because it is not normal.
I like to call it the new future because I agree. It's just the new future.
Personally, I don't understand how we're opening. We touch people all day. There's multiple people in there. I mean, there is skin to skin contact, and we're not medical. Like, we don't work in the medical industry. Like, yes, we have a lot of sanitation requirements for industry. Like, thankfully, we are an industry that, like, 75% of getting your license is knowing sanitation. So this, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm freaked out. I'm stressed out a little bit.
Anxious, concerned, all those things.
Yeah, I mean, I also gotta say, like, I'm a little bit relieved. I'm a little bit of an anxiety person, and the not knowing, simply just the not knowing stresses me out. And so now I know.
How have you coped with that ambiguity? Obviously, right before this recording, the ambiguity has ended, but
Yeah.
how have you been dealing with this not knowing, and having random information, and just how are you dealing?
Well, like I said, I like to stay on top of all the information, the laws and requirements. So already having done that and having, I feel like, a pretty solid foundation of like what things are going to be required, I then created the space in my life to kind of chill out. Like, I've done the work. We ordered all the things. We know what we're doing. We're ready to go. And so I am now like a amateur bird watcher in my spare time.
New hobbies.
Got a pretty good little like deck garden happening.
Oh, that's great. Well, we've had some nice weather, so that helps.
Yeah.
Awesome. So a typical day, you said you're probably only going to take 4 clients. You're not going to do a normal 10 or 12-hour day.
No.
What other things are you preparing, for that first day, just to make sure that you are taking care of you? Good question, right?
We did create, so we have like a sanitation station that we're preparing that has bottles and bottles, all the supplies you're going to need to sanitize. So that'll be like less of a headache. And then we took our changing room, since we're not going to be having clients changing, and we are turning that into our PPE room / what we've been calling the crying room.
Oh, no. Well, you might need a break and have a moment if you're frustrated or overwhelmed. So that's smart. You're preparing for those moments, for yourself as well as your colleagues. That's, I mean, maybe a break room, extra break room, but
So our break room was in our dispensary, which it's a kind of a closed small space. It's shaped like an L, and so to maintain social distancing, we're only allowing 2 people in there at a time,
right,
which now is fine because only 2 people can work. But to make up for that lack of space, we moved our break room into the creepy basement. But we hung Christmas lights, and
Right.
our gorgeous lobby chairs are down there now because we took out our lobby, so because there's no standing around, and we actually we had to space out our stations a little bit more because initially we weren't sure how many people could go back to work, so we wanted to maintain the 6 feet distancing. So we pulled our chairs out of the lobby and put them in the basement.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we did too. Just, oh, we have a wonderful new couch in the break room. Do the guidelines provide you any sense of solace in terms of reopening?
I would say our guidelines, again, it's the knowing and the not knowing for me, being kind of an anxiety person. Some things were like, great, we've got all the rules, we got everything. It was kind of like going down the rabbit hole a little bit, because the way they presented them to us was like, here's a really simple format of the guidelines. And a lot of stylists or, service providers didn't realize you had to click through, all these sections to get the rest of the information.
Yeah, it wasn't just what was on the page. There were links, and then you had to interpret what was in the links. And nothing was straightforward. There was like, what does this mean? We didn't even understand.
Yeah, first read through, I was like, oh, this is easy. But then as you like reread it and disseminate the information, you're like, oh no, this is actually a lot, and so read the L&I stuff, read the health department stuff.
All the posters,
So it was a little stressful. A lot of stylists, that's what I work with. There was so much confusion in the language, and I'm an avid reader. I've got a college degree. I feel like it wasn't as much of a problem for me. But there's a lot of, people that don't have that education, or they're not a good reader, or they just, it's like lawyer speak.
Well, and also the sort of subtextual meaning within, and and lawyer speak, that it's just all to protect the state and not necessarily to be clear for us.
Yeah.
And I will just insert, there was a huge effort on the part of Cosmetologists of Washington United to give a very thorough draft of what we recommended, and it was very straightforward and very clear and cohesive and chronological from before a client gets there, when a client gets there, during when the client's there, throughout the day, closing. And when I saw those, I was like, are you serious? Like, really? This is what you came up with? So I feel you.
Yeah, I think I just want to, you hit the nose on the head. The Cosmetologists of Washington United was a great resource, I think, for a lot of stylists and service providers. We worked with our own lawyers and insurance company and stuff to, write up ours. And I gotta say, like, I did have a moment of like, ooh, ours looks good. Like, I should sell this. But then I was like, no, because that's not what we're about. Like,
right.
I want to support stylists. I don't want to make a quick buck. And so I do got to say, I was a little bummed out when I did see other businesses selling their information.
Right.
I was like, really? That's what you're going to do to like your fellow, stylists?
Well, if I could just be the contrarian devil's advocate on that, there's a lot of work that goes into some of that stuff. And, there was still a lot of work to customize those plans after you got them. So,
I get it. I mean, it crossed my mind too, but like, after really like searching my heart, I'm like, I just can't. Like, these people need this. They need help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually really proud of, Cosmetologists United to like put that out there and make it available.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and there's so many resources that org has given already. Okay, so moving on. Last question. Ironic. It seems this is quickly becoming our new normal. What do you see as the future of our industry in the COVID era? I think we already talked about this. We don't really like calling it the new normal.
Yeah. I think it's going to change our industry a lot. I already know stylists that are not going back. Um, I don't, it's, it could affect pricing. A lot of stylists are used to double booking, taking a haircut while their color is processing.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't do that right now, so they're losing that money. It's hard work, but you can make a quick buck. Like, I hate to say it, you work really, really hard, but you can make a lot of money. And I think that's why a lot of stylists stay in it and don't go on to do other things. It's like you can work part-time and raise your family. You can work part-time, go to college. It's a great career if you don't know where you're going in the future. And I think now that there's these limits on it, and I don't know how that's going to change going forward.
Well, we don't know how long these guidelines will be for, and how long we can't double book, and
because we don't know about immunity. Like, can people get this again? If there isn't, we don't know if there's going to be a cure or what do you call it?
A vaccine.
Vaccine, yeah, like
or a drug therapy, either or.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a couple years that we're in this weird new reality.
Right. Well, what I try to liken it to is, I try to remember, our governor keeps making these World War II analogies, and I can't conceptualize what happened during World War II. I can only hear stories, and I think about, Britain. They were bombed. They had to ration. They had to stay in their homes. They had to deal with potentially, dying from random, whatever, and having family members go to war. And I try to liken it to that. And, that's worse than this is. We had the luxury of technology to be able to connect with each other and, further our education and get ready and all that stuff. And, I try to put it in perspective that this isn't the worst thing that could happen. It's just not fun. It's not great. Awesome. Is there any parting words that you would like to give to the general Sovereign Stylist community about going back to work?
I would just say, like, take your time, really, really think about your choices, why you're doing something. I know some stylists have been working already. Some stylists aren't going to wear their PPE, so I just want to challenge people, like, why? Is it a political statement? Is it because it really bothers you? Why are you in this industry? Like, I get it. We're artists. We're like natural rule breakers. But this can be life or death for some people,
I think that's some really, really good words to impart to everybody. So I want to thank you, Molly, for helping the community at large of the cosmetology industry by giving us your perspective. And I want to thank the viewers for watching today. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the like, subscribe for future videos down below, or click on the bell, and make sure that you check out blog posts on the sovereignstylist.org. And we also have an online community if you are in the cosmetology industry. Check us out. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
Darcy.
Thank you.
Bye.